With the release of the War Within, we now have 4 new reputations to work towards, and improving our standing with these factions gives us new mounts, new gear, and opens up all new content across Khazar-Gar. By just getting the Council of Dornogal and Hallowfall Arathi to level 7, for example, you can get a 584 chest and 584 shoulder piece. So yeah, these reputations are super rewarding and they're very important to grind through if you're looking to unlock, gear, crafting recipes, things like that. So today, I just want to break down all of the best ways to grind reputation, everything you can do to get reputation right now. And I'll go over everything as a whole, so things that work for all the factions, and then I'll go over faction-specific things in each zone that you can do while you're there. So let's start easily. First up is questing. There are a ton of quests in the War Within that reward massive amounts of rep. The first ones to do is the main story. This takes you through every single zone. It unlocks each of the factions, the reputations, and it will give you a couple of levels across all of them to get you all started. But once you've done the main story, you should be looking at your achievements for something called Sojurner. Sojurner of, and then the name of the zone. So Sojurner of the Ringing Deeps. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but these are going to list a big bunch of quest chains that award reputation. Most of these are just small, like a couple of quests. Some are like 5 or 6 quests long, but once you get to the last one in the chain, you'll get 500 reputation and you will unlock that on the achievement. And this is for every single zone. If you open up the achievements and search Sojurner of, the name of the zone, you'll see them and you can track each one and you can work out how much you get for each zone. One really good trick here is you can use your alts to progress these. So because this is warband bound, you can only do it once. So that reputation reward is once, and that reputation counts for all of your characters. So as you're leveling up a new character and alt through the War Within, send them to a certain zone where you haven't done many of these, side quests, these Sojurner of side quests. So say Hallowfall, pick a character, put him in Hallowfall, and just get that character to do all of the side quests. You'll get a ton of reputation, you'll gain loads of levels, you'll work your way to max level, and you'll get a ton of rep to work towards, your account-wide reputation. So that's what I've been doing, and it's worked really well in just really boosting that reputation while leveling. Next up is treasures. All over the map, there are these little chests on your minimap, and you can click on them, and they are world treasures. Every single one of these has an item, a pet, a toy, something like that. Some of them will have a random grey item that you can sell for a bit of gold, but they also contain 150 rep each. So getting them all nets you a few thousand rep per zone. And obviously the reputation will be tied to the zone. So anything in the Isle of Dorn will be for the Council of Dornogal, that kind of thing. You can use the Handy Notes War Within add-on as well to track these, so you can see exactly how many are in each zone, and you can also hover over them. They'll be on your map when you open it up, and you can see if you have found them for your account. Again, these are account-bound treasures. Next up, similar to treasures, we have rares. These are another thing to look for as we're flying around in the open world. These aren't as easy as treasures, as they're not just there all the time for you to walk over to. You kind of have to wait for them to spawn, and some of them are quite tricky and you might need a group. So it's kind of like right place, right time, but if you really want to sweat this out, you can camp each one and or you can work with friends to make sure you get them all. But if you're questing in the area or doing world quests, just head over to each of the silver mob icon you see and fight the rare if it's up. These can drop decent items, they can drop pretty good gear for your level, and each special rare that you beat awards you with 150 reputation for the zone that you are in. I believe these are going to be weekly rewards, rather than, a one-time only reward, such as what we talked about already, but I've not been able to test this yet as we're so early into the expansion. But yeah, I'd imagine you can go back and fight these each week for another chunk of reputation. Okay, now on to another one, the Lore Hunter. Now this is... I don't know what's happening with this, but this should be a thing, so I'm going to talk about it. The Lore Hunter achievement was something that was in beta, but it doesn't seem to be working on live right now for a lot of people, and it's not working for me. But I'll talk about it in case it's bugged and it's fixed in a couple of days, or if it's working for a lot of people and it does help some people. So there are lore items all over the map. When you fly over to them, you'll see this little magnifying glass on your minimap, and that means it's a lore item. Again, you can track this with Handy Notes add-on. The Handy Notes War Within add-on will track this, and they look at they're little books on your map if you're using the add-on. But fly over to these and click on them. And what they're supposed to do is they are supposed to reward you with 250 rep and work towards the Lore Hunter achievement. So what would be really good to do is to get the Handy Notes add-on, or get where all these are, fly around, get all your treasures and get your Lore Hunter items and get loads and loads of rep. But unfortunately, for me and a lot of people, this does nothing. Clicking on the item doesn't give you an item, it doesn't pop anything on your screen, and just nothing happens. So yeah, no idea what's going on here. Let me know down below if you know more than me, because I'm not sure what the problem is. I'm not sure if this was cancelled, if it's a cancelled feature, they've left stuff in, or if it's just a bug. I don't know. But if it works for you, go get them, because they are thousands of rep. Okay, next let's talk pay to win contracts. Kind of. Now, there's also these things called contracts. These were in the last expansion. If you go to the auction house, you can type in contracts and you'll see a big list of items. These contracts are single-use items that provide a buff to your whole account for 1 week. That means for that week, you get a boost to reputation for every world quest that you complete. So if you go buy, say, the 3-star one, the 3-star reputation contract, that is 15 reputation per world quest you complete for that week. I will say right now, at the time I recorded this, they were crazy overvalued. So for 15 rep quest, this didn't feel worth it to me. But if you're looking to min-max, or you've got piles of gold, or these are cheaper for you, then they're definitely worth doing. But it all adds up. Finally, the next big thing you can do is the weekly big quest in Dornagal. Right now, if you go to Dornagal, there is a weekly dungeon quest, and it will say go complete a certain dungeon and get 1,500 reputation for the faction of your choice. Given how easy dungeons are, this is definitely one to complete every week. We'll likely see other quests as the expansion goes on, possibly like go complete a big delve, or go complete a PvP quest, or do something to get a certain amount of rep. So yeah, make sure you're always checking Dornagal for this big quest. Finally, we have the Special Assignment World Quest. Now, these are the new types of world quests, and they require you to complete a number of quests in the zone. Doing so unlocks the Special Assignment World Quest. When you go here, you do this big event quest, and you get the special keys that we're all after to get into the Bountiful Delves. But we also get a little chunk of reputation. I believe it's around 200. It's a bit of that every time I've done it, but it might change depending on the event. But yeah, 200 just for doing this. And that's pretty much it for all of the big things that you can do in every single zone. Like every zone has treasures, rares, that kind of thing. They're everywhere, and it works for all of the different quests. The only other thing that you can look out for is the Bountiful Delves. They give a good chunk of reputation, but I would personally suggest holding off on that until we hit Season 1, as right now the gear reward is pretty bad, but in Season 1, if you save your keys, you'll get much better gear once the season starts. So that would be my advice if you care about gear. If not, that's another rep reward. But yeah, other than that, let's talk about the specific zone quests, because each of the factions has their own quest in their zone that is unique to that faction. So let's talk about those. For the Ringing Deeps, we have the Assembly of the Deeps reputation, and for that we want to be doing the Awakening the Machine event every week. This can be accessed from Speaker Kuldus in the main town of Gundagaz in the Ringing Deeps. He's the guy in front of all the chests, so talk to him to start the event. And this event is basically just fighting waves of enemies, and each wave you complete, each 5 waves you complete, you can open one of these chests. Completing all 20 waves lets you open all of the chests. So you can just go in here, defeat 5 waves, talk to the guy again to continue, and you want to just keep continuing all the way through. I find these super easy on a pretty averagely geared Shaman and Warlock, so hopefully this is something that's achievable on all classes, but I've not tried it on a healer or a tank, so I can't speak for them. But yeah, this should be fine, so don't feel like you have to stop halfway. I'd just try and go all the way. It doesn't seem too difficult really, and the boss at the end isn't even really feel like a boss, so you should be fine. But go through this and you get reputation in these boxes. One box I opened had 250, another had 350. So yeah, do this, open the boxes, get reputation here. For the Council of Dorn, we have the Theatre event on the Isle of Dorn. This is an event that takes place every hour just outside of Dornagal. You can see it by the little icon with the horn under it that shows where it'll be, and it also has a timer so you know when it's coming up. Now, what you want to do here is go and talk to the main guy here, take his quest, do it, and hand it back in, because the follow-up will be a theatre quest, and that's what you want before you start this weekly quest. Now, this event works very similar to Time Rifts. You just go and do a bunch of random stuff. It's very casual, hit enemies, click items, emote, stuff like that, and it's a big zergy group of things to do, so you shouldn't have to worry about what build you're on, things like that. You'll be fine. As you build up the contribution bar at the top of the screen, the better you fill this, the better your reward. But just for completing it, you will get 1,000 rep with the Council of Dornogal. Okay, now for the Hallowfall Arathi, our big event is lighting the braziers in the north of the map. So head up here, and every single one of these big beacons can be lit and has a big quest around it. This is not a quick thing like the others, this is a big event. Doing each of these big beacon quests gives you currency, rewards, and a small cache called a Lamplighter Supply Satchel. These have resonance crystals, they have chance of giving some other little items, and they have a chance of giving a really nice mount. But while we're here doing these big event quests, you'll see these little braziers, these little lesser beacons. If you light these up with 3 crystals, they will draw out an NPC, and these NPCs will give a quest that rewards 200 reputation. Now, if you light them up, you will see like a door will open and an NPC will walk out, or an NPC will just appear, or there'll be a chest nearby and that'll then give a quest, something like that. Just look around and there'll be a blue quest. This will be a weekly quest that gives 200 reputation. I'm not sure how many there are in this zone, but there's a lot, like more than 5. So just go through this zone and light everything up. Do all the beacons, all of the little lesser beacons, all of the quests, and you will get over 1,000 rep with the Hallowfall Arathi. This can take a long time solo, so just dig in and grind it out or join a group. You can walk away with a lot of rewards here. I also got the mount here on the second week of doing it, so it's definitely worthwhile. It's definitely a good thing to do each week, and it's account bound. You know, it's warbound bound in this expansion, so it's not something you have to grind out on every character. They're definitely worth doing. Okay, now finally with Asgi, the insect zone, we have the severed threads reputation. Now, here we do something a little bit different. Rather than build out our reputation with you know the severed threads as a whole, we have to pick one of the minor factions here. Once you're max level and you've done the forging the pact quest, you're taught about having to forge a pact with one of the 3 people here: the General, the Vizier, or the Weaver. Now this is like the Rathian Sibelian stuff we did last expansion, where you kind of have to align with one for a week and you build up and get stuff with that one person. So you basically pick a faction to support. Each have their own rewards, mounts, unlocks, and you quest for them for that week. Once you've picked who you're going to align with, you speak to Quartermaster Yateki, where you aid the person that you picked, and your reward for doing so is 1,500 rep. Now, to aid them, each of the people have their own features that you can unlock. So one will unlock treasure hunts, one will unlock excavations, and as you progress their reputation further, you will unlock more of these. Or there's some quests that you can do, but it basically just involves going around the map and looking for these little bug icons. Look for these little bug icons in your mini-map, talk to the person, and do whatever they tell you to. It's like a little mini quest. If you haven't unlocked all of these, you can also just do world quests. I think rares work too, but just do stuff in the zone, progress this bar, and then go hand it in for 1,500 rep. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the main ways you can grind your reputation out now, and you can really get a lot of this each week. You can do a lot of things that are one time only, and you can do a lot of things each week, and you can really push this quite far. But yeah, I hope this helps give some structure to the reputation grind and helps you get started on unlocking all of the cool new stuff that's behind them. If this has helped, do consider subscribing to the channel. I make a ton of guides of MMOs, RPGs, and I have a lot of War Within content coming, so subscribe to see that as soon as it's out. And if you have any other things you found or you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. But that's it from me. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.